Hey guys, I want to let you know I still have some bundles left over. If you want your bundle today, hit me up on any of the social links down below for more information. Hey guys, this is Vess and we are back with another speed art. So this time I am working on Disney's Moana, and I called it Moana's Heart because for this piece I wanted to focus on her grandmother, the ocean, and just blend it all together. Again, guys, like it might be some spoilers, so if you don't want to have no spoilers or anything like that, please please go ahead and watch the movie first, I guess, and then or turn off the volume. I would suggest you turn off the volume for it. But for this piece, again, I was working on Moana, her grandmother, and focusing on that. This movie was very powerful, and I literally cried for it. So I wanted to draw a piece because this piece inspired me to draw something, because everybody cries to the Lion King. Everybody cries to the Lion King, and this movie was the Lion King for me. I didn't put two and two together until the grandma passed away, and it made me cry a lot because like 2 years ago my grandma passed away. Like, it's going on 3 years already, and it's not the fact that oh, it's just your grandma or anything like that. My grandmother was my mom to me, and she's the one who raised me from infancy all the way to 11, and then I moved in with my mom. So that mother-daughter connection came from my grandmother, and I respected my grandmother enough to take all her teachings and all her explanations and stuff to heart. I took all that to heart, and it's still with me, and I continuously grow with what she taught me. My grandmother inspired me to be an artist. My grandma invested in me to become an artist. My grandma did so much in my art life that I wouldn't be an artist if it wasn't for her and it wasn't for my grandfather. But my grandmother was a huge thing because she stood there the whole time. My grandfather too, but my grandfather was like the fatherly type. He wouldn't show enough affection, but he'll give you the supplies that you need. He'll teach you how to draw the faces and stuff. And I said this on stream once. My grandfather was an artist also. He used to take 10 people, and he used to draw on them and make them look like just update them, make them look a lot better. So I used to help him with 10 people. I used to help him build boats and stuff. So yeah, when it came to my grandma, my grandfather, they were my parents in my life. And Moana made me, like, Moana was my Lion King because I understood where it came from, like how hard it hurt when her grandma passed away. And it's like when I went ahead and I added the spirit to this piece because I don't know if you guys know, but I'm Christian. I believe that we have another life from here. So spiritual life, I don't force anything on nobody. I'm not gonna sit here and try to or anything like that. I'm just telling you that I believe in the afterlife. I believe that Jesus came, saved us. We have another life with him. So my grandma also believed in that. She was very strong in it, and when she passed away with prayer and stuff like that. So I knew where she was heading to, and I basically cried in that part too because of the afterlife type of feature to it, and knowing that one day I will be able to see her. So it's like it's just like so many emotions at once. I might cry. I'm not too sure. I'm just hoping that I don't. It's still a fresh wound, I will say. And when I think about it, it makes me feel like I want to cry and stuff like that. But I was like, why not make an awesome piece with it? So I honestly didn't put two and two together till the grandma passed away. And then when it came down to like me and my husband talking about it, he was like, don't worry about it. Don't feel ashamed that you're crying, because it's normal. And I was like, I understand it's normal, but I don't, it's not something that I will randomly do, because usually I think of the good times and stuff. I wouldn't think of that point. And yeah, it was just like, it was kind of weird that I was crying to a Disney movie. I was like, geez, I never cried to a Disney movie. This is like the first time. And he was like, yeah, but I knew that this was gonna happen. And I was like, how do you know that this was gonna happen? He was like, because Moana looks like you, and the grandma definitely looks like your grandmother, and she is definitely like your grandma, because my grandma, she was kooky. She was crazy. Everybody thought she was crazy, but she wasn't crazy. She had a lot of wisdom, and she had a lot of stuff to teach. So I never took that for granted, and she was happy that I never took that for granted. But she called herself crazy. She was like, I am crazy, and she'll accept it and, you know, enjoy that the fact that everybody thinks she's crazy, but she know deep down inside she wasn't crazy. So it was like it was just her. And he was like, that movie was about you. And I was like, that's crazy, you know, because even the grandmother was helping Moana all the way to her death and then on some, because you can see it through the movie how it was just her. She's, you know, she's little, she keeps running to the water, the grandma's there, the grandma's telling her, you know, you're gonna be called for something. You don't know what you're gonna be called for yet. You know a little bit of it, but you don't know exactly of it. But when you are called for this mission, you have to do it. And that was the same thing for me. She knew I wanted to draw because I used to love cartoons. So she'll give me coloring books. And when she saw that I used to go ahead and, you know, those little boxes that they tell you you can draw a line on this section, this section, and this section. And when you connect it, it creates a character. Well, that's what I basically used to do all the time. And she knew I wanted to become an artist. So she'll throw in pencils and she'll throw in a sketch pad. And then I just continuously kept going. And most of the pieces that, you know, I have, that, you know, I haven't thrown away or anything like that. Those pieces are pieces from like pieces, you know, sketchbooks that she gave me and they fell out. So, you know, she used to be that inspirer. She was the one that kept me going with my art. You know, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing Celestial Post if it wasn't for my grandmother. So definitely, you know, I went ahead and I basically put that together for, you know, Moana. And even after, you know, after my grandma has passed, I continuously do art and I continuously strive. I don't know if you guys noticed, but in Celestial Post, Fuji has her grandmother and her grandmother's there. So I based my grandmother on that grandmother, and I gave her the same first name. I didn't shy away from that. She has a different last name, but it's all cool, you know. At least everybody knows that, you know, she's inspired by my grandmother. And I was, you know, I continuously was inspired by my grandmother. My grandmother was no artist, but she was one to inspire people to continuously do the best that they can and make something of themselves. She didn't want us to be a statistic. That's what they call it, a statistic out there in the streets doing whatever. She wanted us to be something more than that. I'm telling you, my grandma was like a complete life coach when it came down to like a lot of stuff that happened in our lives. Even when I left, like when I was 11, my mom decided, hey, I want my kids back. She went ahead and she never like shied away. She was like, you know, that's your mom, respect her, but make sure that your siblings was okay. And you know, I kept that with me. You know, I always respected my mom, never like did anything. It's just you know, I just did what my grandmother told me. I respected her continuously. I made sure I watched out for my sisters and my brothers. And now it's the same way, don't get me wrong, but now I see how much my grandmother had to deal with my mom, and it's like I don't have that connection with my mom. Like, honestly speaking, that mother-daughter thing, it just didn't work. So when it came down to this movie, and I saw how Moana kept going to her grandmother for advice and stuff like that because her parents just didn't understand her. I fit right there because my mom, like I don't have my dad. My dad was considered dead or whatever. I don't know about him. I don't even talk about him because I just don't know, and I don't care because he didn't care about me, right? So basically with that, it's like, you know, when my mom will talk about my dad and stuff like that, I'll be like, you know, okay, granted, he was the best thing in your life, but he's not the best thing in my life because I don't know him. So you enjoy that memory with him, but I'm going to enjoy what I have here. And what I had there was my grandmother, my grandfather. Every summer, I will look forward to go with them. I don't know how the summer thing came along. I never really asked, but my grandmother had us every single summer. We go to the beach, we go to the pool. She'll spend thousands and thousands of dollars on us, just, you know, basically spoiling us, but at the same time teaching us something, because I was born and raised in New York. So she lived in the Lower East Side, which was Manhattan, next to the FDR Drive. And down there was full of culture, art, everything. Even our Puerto Rican heritage was very strong down there. So she always kept that lively in our lives, so that when we continuously, you know, when we look back, you know, we'll know who we are as people. So she kept our culture strong. She kept everything there. And that's, you know, basically the same thing with Moana. Like, I'm telling you, no lie, guys, this movie was my life. Like, it was it was my life, but not exactly like it. It doesn't have all this other stuff going on, but it was almost like it. And it's just crazy how much now I put two and two together. And my husband, he was like, you look just like her. You looked like her when you were small. I might flash some pictures here and there, because I know that this is like a 27 video, like a 27-minute long. But yeah, I'm gonna flash a little bit of things here and there. But yeah, guys, like I was the same way. When I was little, had the little curls, not big curls like I have now. I have little curls. When I was about, I don't know, I was probably like 7, 8, or 9, one of those ages, I had long curly hair. Like, my hair will stop to my back, but when you straighten it, it will come all the way waist down. So my grandmother was a big fan of long hair. That's why I'm trying to grow it out now, you know, like I'm trying to make sure that it's healthy and growing out correctly. So yeah, she was a fan of that. And every time I cut my hair, she would be like, what I told you about cutting your hair? You shouldn't cut your hair. Your hair will be long by now. But no, you want to sit here and cut your hair. Because I used to like cut hair. I used to like to cut my hair and keep it short. And then on top of that, I used to damage it with so much heat and stuff, because I didn't like it curly. But it's now that I'm older that I embrace my curls. So I wish I knew that now, you know, because I would have not been so hung up on my hair. But it's okay. I'm gonna grow it. I'm gonna grow it. Guys, this spirit thing was the hardest thing to do. It was just the tattoo itself. It was so intricate that it took me a while to line it up, but everything else was pretty much easy, like lining up the women and all that. At first, Moana looked older, but I made her look younger by making her shorter and making her a lot more wider. So that helped. And then not too much boobage area, you know. you gotta shimmy that down. But yeah, this movie was just basically, it was just basically me. I didn't expect it to be that way. My husband was talking about watching it again. I was like, I don't know if I can watch it again. I don't think I have the strength to watch it again. That's what I told him, because it's just I can't watch it again because of that one part. Even when I listen to the music and I listen to the grandma, I think back like on my life. I think back on the movie itself and how it was, and I just start like bawling. So it's like I don't know how I don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch it as quick as everybody else. So yeah, call me selfish, right? Call me selfish on that, because I just can't sit down and watch this movie again. I think I'll try it again maybe in a year, but I think I don't know. I think I'm gonna always cry to that part. I think it's just gonna be like the Lion King for me. It just is. it's just too many stuff add up, you know, especially with how it is. And, you know, it's just too much. It's just too much. I hope you guys don't hear it. You probably hear it in my voice, but it's just a lot of factors in this piece that, in this movie, that it was just like, yo, this is crazy. I almost cried even finishing it, because when you start coloring it, then that's when you know it got real. when you finish coloring, you know it got real, and you're like, yo, this is crazy. And then I had to look at the grandma the whole time, and then when I keep looking at the grandmother, I see my grandmother in her. So it's like I see the way she looks. I'm gonna show you guys pictures, you know, of what she looks like, because then you'll understand, like, this was like, this had to be the most craziest movie ever. I don't know if this part happened to somebody in Moana, or who was inspired by Moana, but this was messed up. It felt like I wrote this story. I was like, dang. So yeah, it was just real deep. It was like a real deep thing. It's like, you know, when you don't have your own parents, but you have somebody there that replaces that, you know, it's just crazy. You wouldn't expect it. When I mean by like you wouldn't expect, I mean like, you know, you wouldn't expect to have a deep connection with that person that, you know, was there for you the whole entire time. Like, I don't know what was the deal with my grandmother and her children, like my mom and my uncles and stuff like that, because when it came down to them loving her, it was never that case. It was always they hated her, or they felt some type of way about her, or she was a bad parent and all this stuff. But it was just like, it wasn't something that I understood, because to me, she wasn't a bad parent. She took care of me as best as she could, and I know she had to take care of them as best as she could, or best to her knowledge. And my whole thing with raising kids is, you don't have a manual or anything like that. You have, you know, whatever that you was taught and more, because you can find out through other places of how to become a better parent. Because with age comes, you know, great responsibility, like other people, but like Spider-Man. But yeah, with age comes knowledge. So you know, I understand if my grandmother made mistakes and she had to compensate by taking care of us, you know. My mom had me at 14, so I know it had to be rough, you know, to continuously raise a 14-year-old, and at the same time take care of an infant that isn't even hers, you know. There was a lot of stories on my birth and, you know, what was going on, but when I talked to other family members, it wasn't the way my mom had said it was. And I knew it wasn't, because how can my grandmother love someone that she wanted, you know, not here? So it just didn't make any sense to me. And, you know, she admitted to a lot of stuff, you know, because I used to talk to my grandma one-on-one. She knew everything about every single part of my life. So there was never a surprise for her. It was always a surprise for my mom, but never a surprise for her. And, you know, she knew everything of my life. She knew a whole bunch. She took care of me as great as she can. She raised me and stuff like that. So why would she raise or, you know, continue, you know, love someone who she didn't want here? So it didn't make no sense. And when my grandma admitted to some stuff, she was like, she didn't know herself, because she had 3 boys prior to my mom, so she didn't know how to raise a girl, and it was hard for her. But, you know, it's not like she didn't love my mom or anything like that. She was just trying her best, and that's the key. As long as she tried her best and she took care of us, because she took care of me and my other sister, and she didn't have to do that. She could have put us up for adoption. She could have did a lot of other stuff, but no, she kept us within the family. She made sure we was okay. She kept teaching us, making sure that we know who we are as people, our culture, she wanted she wanted to keep us learning Spanish because our first language was Spanish because my grandma used to speak Spanish, but we transitioned to English because, you know, we grew up in America. So I felt that I sound stupid speaking Spanish and I didn't want to speak Spanish. But she always encouraged it because she wanted us to keep that piece of us with us. And it's bad because now, you know, I can speak Spanish, but I can't speak, you know, as fluently as my grandmother could. And I wish I can because, you know, then I know that I'm pretty good. But other than that, you know, I didn't keep up with it. And that's why I'm like, I understand you 100%, but I cannot I can't talk back because I think I sound stupid and I will hesitate. But yeah, like, I don't know what happened with my mom, my uncles and stuff like that. But I just know what happened with me. And what happened with me was she strived for us. She did so much for us that a parent would have did for us. She sacrificed. She used to take us on trips, Donny Park, Sesame Street, zoos, everything. Like, she made sure we had so much to go off when we got older that we wouldn't have to depend on people, or we will learn for ourselves, or we keep growing. That's what her main stuff was. And, you know, that's how it continuously is. You know, I learn things on my own. I'm open to discussions. I'm open to a lot of things because my grandma was so open. But, you know, it's just that way. And, you know, I continuously keep her stuff. You know, I take care of my brothers and my sisters. I respect my mom to an extent, but I do not let my mom rule me over. That's the difference between respect and ruling over. Like, I used to come out of pocket a lot for my mom. I used to bend over backwards for my mom. But now now that I'm older and I see that she's just using me, I don't do this anymore. I respect her to the point where I don't have to, you know, say anything bad about her or disrespect her in her face. But I came to the point where I love her at a distance. So that's where I am with my mom. When I do have kids, I think the most that they will hear is, you know, my grandma was my mom. So they will hear more stories about her than they will hear about my mom. Like, don't get me wrong. My mom, she tried her best, but she wasn't her best. So it was just difficult. It's just difficult for me to have someone like her in my kid's life or anything like that, or in my life, because it's toxic. So yeah, and this is like I'm opening like a weird door for you guys, and I don't know if you guys will appreciate it or anything like that. You know, I'm just talking because I wanted to explain why this movie was so deep for me and why it moved me. It's just basically my life, and it's just crazy. Like it's just crazy how it just put itself together. But yeah, I don't know I don't know what happened, but I know where I am with my grandmother. I know how I respect my grandmother, and I want to keep my memory the way it was. I don't want to alter it for anybody else, and it's not going to get altered for anybody else. That's why I cut a lot of family members, like not a lot of family members, but certain people that is in my family, I don't talk to them anymore because they tried to tarnish what I remember of her. And I'm like, you can't do that because, you know, she was a huge thing in my life. She was an inspirer. She kept me going. She, you know, it was always, you can do it. You can do it. Don't say that you can't. And that's the same attitude that I have with you guys. Like, you can do it. Don't say that you can't, because there's always practice. There's always a way to do it, you know. In my beliefs, you know, you could do anything that God gives you the strength to do. So definitely, you know, if God gives you the strength to continuously draw, and he gave you the gift to draw, or he gave you the mindset of becoming an artist, don't think that you're not going to become one, because you are going to become one. Don't get me wrong, it's going to take some time, but it's something that God put in you. So you definitely are you're gonna do it. You're gonna pursue it. And that's the thing. I pursued art. This is what I wanted to do. I'm thankful that, you know, God's blessed me with my husband. My husband is a huge enabler. If I was addicted to art, I think he will be an enabler. I will have to go to rehab because my husband is truly he truly invests in me and everything. Just like my grandmother, he truly pushes me to become greater than what I am, and continuously, oh, if you don't know how to do this, go watch a tutorial, go do this, go do that. So yeah, it was just continuously listening to him. That's why he's my manager. He gets things done. So yeah, my grandma was happy when she met Justin. She used to joke with him a lot, but when we used to visit her, because she used to be in the nursing home a lot, we used to visit her like once a month, and I used to just stay over her house, and me and Justin would just travel to the hospital, and yeah, she would just be like, oh, Justin, and she was like, take care of my baby. So it was just like, it was just love all around. So she accepted Justin with open arms, and that's something my mom couldn't do. So I respect my grandmother for that, you know. It's just something that I wish, you know, I would have had a bond with my mom, but it just didn't work that way. So yeah, guys, if you have that one person that continuously, you know, is there for you, you know, respect them and keep their legacy going, you know. My middle name is Nelly. I am the reflection of my grandmother. So definitely. So yeah, after doing the moon, I was pretty much done with this piece, and this is the slow-mo of it. It came out looking really good. I love this piece. Again, guys, thank you for listening to my story, listening to my tutorials and everything, like, and speed arts. I don't expect it, but you guys do. That's why I love you guys. You're my pulses. Yeah, so if you like what I do and you're like, hey Vess, you new here, you're like, hey Vess, I like what you do, your story inspired me, I want to be inspired too, yeah, hit that subscribe and become one of our posters, our family members. Keep me inspired to continuously do different videos for you guys. Yeah, if you got any video suggestions, leave it down below. Again, guys, thank you for watching, sharing, telling a friend, and helping a friend. Have an amazing rest of the day. Bye bye.